Hey guys, we're going to be going back to Dark Phoenix. I wanted to put out an alternative clear a little bit earlier today, but I was just busy with other stuff. It's better late than never. So we're going to be doing a Dark Phoenix clear that uses units that I did not use in my first clear. Now, my first clear was a flawless victory. If you want to see that, look at my Area 2 video. But this is an alternative clear if you don't have, like, Zahn, Laswell, Gilgamesh, etc. So we're going to be using 3 finishers. Now, the whole team is geared for 30% fire resist. That's all you need on the team is 30 fire resist, and nothing else matters for resistances. So just go pure DPS except for 30 fire resist. Except for the Provoker, I'll get to them in a minute though. So Noctis is 30 fire resist, and some Bird Killer. He's going to cap on turn 3. Regina is going to cap on turn 3 with a finisher. She's got fire resist. Cloud's going to LB on turn 3 with his skills. Rosa is going to be our Provoker. Now, she has kind of specific gear. If you can't build this kind of Rosa, you can replace her with any tank like Warrior of Light or a classical tank that are easier to build for passive provoke evasion. But Rosa is chosen because she gives a Bird Killer buff to the entire team. And she has a counterattack Bird Killer buff that's even stronger. So her provoking can probably trigger her counterattack for a good Bird Killer buff, and if she doesn't counter, we can use her active Bird Killer buff. But she needs to be Evasion, Passive Provoke. We gave her 1,000 Needles, so she can Mirage on turn 2, that's very important. And she's got 105 Fire Resist, because she's going to be buffing Fire Resist on turn 1 with Carbuncle. She also needs to be on Carbuncle with Bar Farega Learn, so plus 70%. So a little bit specific, so she's going to be on Carbuncle for Fire Resist, buffing. She's doing Mirage on turn 2, and she's Passive Provoke with 105 or better Fire Resist, because she's going to be getting Imperiled. So really specific, if you can't build her, Warrior of Light, Galoof, etc., all those natural Passive Provoke tanks can do the same job much easier. But they can't Bird Killer buff. Epsilon Nicole is for Ice Imbue, and he's going to be Ice Imbuing, he's going to be filling LB gauge, and he's going to be chaining Aurora Ray on turn 3 for the chain count score. And that's pretty much it. He's got some fire resist. Roberta is going to be our Breaker and Imperil unit. She's also going to be chaining AR on turn 3. Her Limit Burst does a 104 Imperil and a 74% break. So that's going to be our Break and Imperil, and this is going to be our Imbue. And Nicole will fill Roberta's LB on turn 2, so we get it guaranteed. Alright, let's get in here and do this. This is an overall pretty easy fight if you just, bring all the things you needed. The hardest thing here is the Passive Provoke tank. But again, if you can't build Rosa, use like a regular tank that has natural Passive Provoke. They're much easier to build for it. Or you could even use Protagonist Halos. They're really expensive, but it is an option. They're not expensive, they're just rare. Anyway, come on, load it up. Alright, so turn 1, Noctis is just going to double ability. We're going to use these resist buffs. They're not important for the resist, but those are modifier boosts that last for multiple turns. They'll become stronger later. Turn 1, Rosa is going to bar Farega. Nicole is going to imbue with Ice and use Heroic Stance so we can fill LB next turn. Regina can discard, and Cloud can Fenrir Full Throttle. That's a slightly better attack buff than what Nicole provides. We're going to use the Latent on Roberta. That powers her up for later. Okay, there's going to be an AoE fire attack, but because of the fire resist buff and the 30 fire gear, we're immune to it. There's no physical or wind on turn 1, except for the stuff on Rosa that she's evading. Okay, the boss used Soul Dance, so you want to dispel that. So we'll just use Regina to toss a torch and dispel that. Noctis will use that last modifier boost, which lasts 3 turns. Now Rosa's going to 1,000 Needles, because there's going to be an AoE wind attack on this turn, but with 1,000 Needles, it doesn't hit us. Alright, Nicole will double cast Heroic 3. That's going to fill the LB gauge on Roberta, as you saw, guaranteed fill on Roberta. So now we can use Roberta to break the boss. That's a 74 defensive spirit break and a 104 ice imperil. And Cloud can discard. Alright, there's going to be some single target attacks on Rosa, including fire attacks, which is why she needed 175 resist after a buff. And there's the wind attack that we miraged. Now the boss has a lot more stuff on turn 3, but we're going to be winning on turn 3, so who cares? Alright, I'm not sure if Rosa counterattacked with her bird killer buff yet. If she did, great. If not, we're casting Sure Aim for a smaller bird killer buff. Alright, Nicole is going to dual cast his AR chain. Make sure you do the ice one because the boss, it counts for the weakness attacks. Roberta is going to do her AR chain. Cloud's going to LB, and then Regina and Cloud are going to cap. Or Regina and Noctis. Doesn't really matter what skills you use to cap with because there's no killers for bird in either of their kits, so it's just like whatever. Okay, so we're going to start these two. Then we're going to start our AR chainers. And there goes Cloud, Noctis, Regina, etc. So we're definitely not going to cap damage here, but I mean, we got a flawless score other than damage. If you don't have the meta damage dealers, you do the best you can. There's 1.1 billion. I mean, it's a respectable score. It's a respectable score. If you don't have good ice or earth units, that's you know what you got to do. But there was an alternative team as opposed to what I used my first run. I didn't repeat any units. Let's see what kind of score that gave us. It should have been a respectable score. I mean, 17 out of 30. That's really good. So 100,000 first time clear, 40,000 for the flawless and the rest of the categories, and an extra 17, so 157,000 points out of like 170. That's really close to max, actually. Okay. It's actually, the next area is opening pretty soon, so I'll see you guys in a few hours for the third area.